ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track, and ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
This is Cop Talk, talking crime, cases, and backing the blue. Now, here are your hosts, Captain Ed Mehmet and Detective Kevin Schroeder.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cop Talk. I'm Kevin Schroeder, and I'm here with my co-host, Captain Ed Mehmet. Say hello, Ed.
Hello, WABC listeners. Here we are for another podcast.
So today's guest on Cop Talk is MaryAnn Maginnis. MaryAnn's husband, Sergeant Peter Maginnis, was with the NYPD 62 precinct, and he died September 2002. MaryAnn is the widow's liaison for the NYPD Anchor Club, an order of the Knights of Columbus focused in helping widows and children. MaryAnn helped organize the first ever mass in Brooklyn to honor officers like Peter who died of suicide. An estimated 200 people, many of them NYPD officers in uniform, attended the September 28th Mass at Our Lady of Guadalupe Church in Dikers Heights, Brooklyn. MaryAnn, welcome.
Thank you.
So, MaryAnn, let's talk about your background. You were born and raised in Brooklyn?
I am, yes.
So tell us about it.
I was born on 72nd between 12th and 13th. When I got married, we shared the driveway. I rented the apartment upstairs. I would throw my laundry out the window and go do it in the basement at my mother's house. But then we didn't go far. I wanted to go to Long Island. My husband wanted to stay in Brooklyn. He loved the Italian neighborhood. And we moved around the block, and I've been there ever since.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Born
great.
and raised.
Born and raised, Brooklyn.
Yep.
You don't hear that much anymore.
No, I know.
So tell us about your husband, Peter. How did you meet?
We met at TGI Fridays.
Oh, okay. In Brooklyn?
No, Manhattan,
Oh,
34th
okay.
Street. I was waitressing there, and he showed up with his cop friends. They were doing security for Madison Square Garden for, oh, God. The guys with the little bears. All the bears. I can't think of what they're called. They're potheads. Anyway, it'll come to me. And I waited on the table, and I thought he was very good looking. And, of course, I screwed up the check, messed the whole thing up. But they left, and when I went, I was going to hang out at the Penn Bar. I could see him talking to his friends, and he came over, and he approached me and asked me for my phone number, and I laughed. And I said, absolutely not. I said, so you could just show your friends? Not going to happen. You know where I work, call information. And he did. Wow. And that was it.
And how long were you together?
We were together 6 years before we got married. And then we were only together married 9 years.
9 years.
Yeah.
Captain?
You know, during my 40-year career, I knew quite a few people who committed suicide. It's an epidemic, and I can understand what you've gone through. What can you tell us about Peter's suicide that might help others who are similarly affected, other families who are affected by this?
Don't do it. So there was no signs. There was absolutely no signs, and I don't really think that there are usually, because when I do speak with people, nobody says, oh, yeah, there was a sign. He was depressed. He was this. There was no signs at all. I mean, I had my daughter. After the two boys, we were so happy. I had my daughter. She was only one. He was, like, beyond ecstatic to have the little girl. So there was no signs. What can I tell people? He missed so much. My kids missed so much. I missed so much. It was too much. It's a lot to take on 3 children all by yourself. I mean, thank God I had my family and my friends, but it weighs on me at night, Find help. I tell people all the time when I speak, talk to your dog. Talk to anybody. Just talk. Get it out. You can't hold everything. You can't bottle everything in. You got to express yourself, let it out, talk, complain. Talk to anybody, your friend. Talk to somebody. It's got to get let out. And nothing is worth what he did. Nothing. I could have, if it was money, I could have lived in a box. We could have rented an apartment. We didn't have to have the house. Nothing is worth it. I look at my kids, they missed out on so much. I could cry every day if I think about it. I try not to think about it. But my poor daughter, you don't think she wants her father to walk her down the aisle? Her sweet 16, you don't think she wanted her father to walk her? And she could cry at any time. And it's so difficult when we go to these events, like we don't even look at each other. We kind of do back to back because we know what we feel like.
You know what you said before about no signs, I found that to be quite true with at least 3 of the people that I knew who committed suicide. One was a sergeant who worked with me. I was a captain. And up until the day he committed suicide, he seemed like nothing was bothering him. And we were all shocked when that happened.
So true.
And I can think of others that they look perfectly normal. And the next day you hear that they killed themselves. So, it's very true about...
I was with him that day. It was my girlfriend's birthday, my daughter's godmother. And I said, do me a favor, could you just drop me off? We're having lunch for her. And I remember running into the store and getting a gift certificate, and I came out, and he was playing with the baby in the car seat. I said, all right, I'll see you later. And then I never saw him again.
Wow. You're with the Anchor Club.
I am.
Can you explain to our listening audience what the Anchor Club is, how long you've been with it, and
Anchor
what
Club
your work
is an amazing organization. They are all third-degree knights, and they're all police officers. They all volunteer their time to take care of the widows and children. So when Peter passed, there was a few guys that were on the Anchor Club that knew Peter, and so they invited me to join in. And if it wasn't for them, I don't think my kids would have had any experience with NYPD. See, to me, that left my husband alive, just having the NYPD in our lives. And, I wasn't line of duty, so I didn't get invited to anything. And the Anchor Club welcomed us. I'll never forget the first year. He died in September. December, I wasn't up for it, but they came with bags of toys for my children. It was just unbelievable. And so ever since then, they've invited me to Christmas parties, and the kids get things. They take us to Rockefeller Center. We go ice skating in March. Nice. We do the PDFD hockey game. We do Coney Island. We feed the kids all day, and then we go out to Sheepshead Bay, and we go on the police boats. We do a Mets game. We go fishing. We take them out fishing for the day. Every year we try to add something new, and this year we're thinking about what we're going to add. We finally started doing the Thanksgiving Day Parade, which is fabulous because we're right there, right up front. They do the tree lighting at Rock Center, and then we end it with a Christmas. In November we do the Mass. The Mass for all our loved ones. And then in December, we finalize with the Christmas party for the kids, which is just to see their faces. It's amazing.
Right, sure. Do you do New Year's Eve as well?
No.
You don't do the ball, Midtown,
no, we
Times
don't.
Square?
This was the first year I ever went.
Oh, okay.
I've never been, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it's a great experience.
Yeah. Got to do it once in
especially
your
if
life.
you don't have to wait 12 hours to watch the ball come down. You just show up an hour before, as it should be. So, MaryAnn, in September, you helped organize the first ever Mass in Brooklyn to honor officers who died of suicide. What was that like, putting that together?
That was beautiful. Just before COVID hit, they actually did in 2019 the first Mass for suicide, and it was at St. Pat's Cathedral. Once COVID hit, it went wayside, and everybody kind of forgot about it, and I said, I don't think we should forget. I think we have to do this. And I had full support from the police department and the chaplains and all the unions, and we put together a beautiful Mass. It was sad because I had the history of how many officers have passed, and I went back to like 1982 or 80, and there was well over 200 names, and it was horrible to type them and list. And I'm trying to get through my own, and seeing the names, it chokes you up. It's sad. But, the mass was for them, yes, it was, but it was also for their families. Because 21 years ago, it'll be 22 years, no, it'll be 23 years. It was such a, everybody dropped me. No, ooh, hush, hush, we don't talk about that. And I got to be honest, I don't think I told anybody in the Anchor Club how my husband died until probably 2019. I just said that he was sick, which he was. I just didn't give any information because I didn't want to be shunned and looked at, and we get that. We really do. And so this mass, really, as much as it was for our loved ones, it was also for their families. I wanted them to feel part of something. Because, again, the suicide is such a word, and these poor people, they never got involved. And listen, NYPD today, if you love them, we want you, And that's what I said. If we have people that want to be part of NYPD, don't we want that? We have enough hate out there. Sure. So they were all in all, yeah, let's do this. And a lot of families showed, which I was so happy that they felt like part of something, which was nice. And we say it all the time with the Anchor Club, with the suicides. I'm so sorry I met you. But boy, am I glad I met you.
True. So this will be an annual event.
Absolutely.
And when is the next one?
It's going to be
where?
Either the third. It's going to be at Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Okay.
We're sticking with it.
Staying in Brooklyn.
And it's going to. I have to go this month and set the date. It's either going to be the 3rd or 4th Thursday of September. Sticking with September.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How do you separate your own sadness from Peter's death when you help others in crisis? Can you detach?
I try. You know what? I go to their funerals. Believe it or not, I go to the wakes and I introduce myself, and I tell them, right now you probably can't talk or understand anything that I'm saying, but when you're ready, I'm here to listen. And I have to be honest, I've spoken quite a few family members, and we'll speak on the phone, and I cry. I do cry. I can't help it. It brings me back, and, I know what they're going through, and they thank me because I know what they're going through. I know what they feel like, and, you feel lonely. It's not something that people blame, and, so that's why when I talk to them and I give them my story and I tell them about my family and my children, they're like, wow. And I said, yeah, well, but wow for you too. So as much as I try to separate, I still cry. Can't help it. Still cry.
Ladies, you'll end up shopping for your guy's deodorant, right? So try Degree's Original Cool Rush. You see, last year, Degree changed the formula, and men were mad. One guy even started a petition. So Degree admitted they messed up and brought the Original Cool Rush scent back. It's clean, crisp, and actually smells like someone you want to cuddle. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So toss one in your cart and find out why it's the best-selling men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory.
Subtle results, still you, but with fewer lines. Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
We off?
30 seconds of carefree bliss.
Oof, like wind in your hair carefree.
Oh, like using Clorox Disinfecting All-Purpose Cleaner in the home carefree.
Yes!
Like dog slobbing on the coffee table and cleaning it with Clorox Carefree.
He's on a roll now.
Spit toothpaste on the faucet.
You got it. You got it.
Peanut butter on the light switch.
Oh, spritz, spritz.
Spritz, spritz. Clorox, man. Clean feels good.
Okay, we're back.
Use as directed.
Hey guys, have you heard of Goldbelly? It's this amazing site where they ship the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants across the country. Anywhere, nationwide. I've never found a more perfect gift than food. Goldbelly ships Chicago deep dish pizza, New York bagels, Maine lobster rolls, and even Ina Garden's famous cakes. So, if you're looking for a gift for the food lover in your life, head to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT. That's goldbelly.com, promo code GIFT.
So now, MaryAnn, your son TJ, he's on the job, NYPD.
He is.
And he works where Peter worked?
Yes, he did.
Right.
Does.
So he was only 6, I believe, when Peter died. And now he's assigned to the 6-2 precinct where Peter worked, his husband. You must be very proud of that.
Very proud. I am. I am, because you know what? I have pictures of TJ when he was little in school, and they had, and they had, I don't even remember, but I have a picture of TJ, and he was like in kindergarten, and there's Peter in his uniform, and he's got his hands on TJ, and TJ came home, and he was so proud that day that his father was there in uniform, and he says, I'm going to be a police officer one day, and he always wanted to. From when he was little. I guess he just loved that uniform, I don't know. And then when Peter died, you know, I went through my own anger, but whatever, but as the years went on, I said, I can't blame anybody, you know. I really can't. And if this is what my son wants to do, I'm going to make my son happy, and I'm going to support it 110%. And he's an NYPD officer.
That's great.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, is Peter, does your son TJ have Peter's shield?
No.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I wasn't going to do that. But what I did do, he has a part of Peter's police officer's shield and a part of his sergeant's shield. Okay. So we put it together and we made it. Yeah.
That's nice. Great.
You know, I know we touched on this before, but if someone is in crisis, can you think of any of the signs that might show up? And what would the friends or family respond to?
You know, I'm not a professional. I didn't go to school for this. This is all what I lived, unfortunately. Again, my husband showed no signs. None.
None whatsoever?
None. He had a smile on his face, happy as could be all the time. Even now, TJ at the 6'2", there's a few people that are still there and remembered Peter. And they said, your father always had a smile on his face, always made us laugh. And so I couldn't tell you. The only thing I found out afterwards was one of the guys had told me that he went to get his dress uniform. But would you take that as a sign? I wouldn't. Just because.
No, but that reminds me of the scene in I think it was A Few Good Men. If you remember the officer who was involved.
Okay.
He dressed up in his Marine Corps uniform meticulously, and then he killed himself.
Yep. So I mean.
But how would you know that?
How would I know that?
You wouldn't.
And he was out sick, so, and I just wouldn't have known. And I was so busy with 3 kids, I wouldn't have even, I don't know. That was about the only thing. Yep.
MaryAnn, what would you tell young cops today how to prepare mentally for the job to be, NYPD officer?
So you know what? I have to tell you, I'm Italian, and I think that the way I was raised was to have a thick skin. You know, my parents didn't, you're perfect, you're this. No, my parents were real. They said it as it was. They raised me to have very thick skin. And I think that that's how I raised my kids. Each one of my kids had gained weight and were on the heaviest side. And I was brutally honest with them. And, I would tell them, this isn't healthy, and, exactly that. So it's funny because when a kid would insult my kids at school and say, "Oh, you're fat," he would say, "That's all you got? You got to give me something better than that,"
Right.
Because you have to have a thick skin in this world. You really, really do. And unfortunately, what the city is going through right now, they can't take anything to heart. They have to remember why they became a cop, and that's really it. And I also tell my kids, which is true too, you know what? You have to have respect for your bosses. You might not like them, but you have to have respect for them, because a lot of kids today, they try this job, they don't. I didn't like it. Nobody knows how to stand and stick it out. Nobody's saying you have to love your job at this moment or your boss. You got to stick it out for a little bit of time, and get used to it and see where it takes you. You can't you can't quit right away. And not that my kids, TJ has come home and said, "Oh, I don't like this boss." Please. But I say, you're not going to like every boss. And one day a boss might not like you and might get on you. But you have to have a thick skin, and you have to be respectful, and that's the bottom line. You really do.
True.
Part of that was lost when the draft ended, because in my generation, just about everybody had served in the military. Either they volunteered or they were drafted. So they were used to the chain of command, the discipline involved. And so when they went into the police department, they were conditioned to obey orders. And like you say, I had a sergeant, I couldn't stand him as a person, but I respected his rank.
That's it.
And I did what he says. So
Exactly.
I respected the rank, but I didn't respect him.
Right.
Well, Captain, you were a boss.
Yes.
Did everybody love you?
Of course not.
And that's okay.
I'm glad we didn't work together.
Are you familiar with any of the training that the recruits get in the police academy about suicide or suicide prevention?
So my son told me that, yes, he did definitely take a course in suicide prevention. But I believe that 2.5 years, I believe they're doing even more now. I know health and wellness, they set up a time frame where they're in at all the classes. They make sure that they're in there talking to them about it. And actually, I'm going to be able to go, which I'm very happy about. Because, it's one thing to read out of a textbook and hear from a psychologist or a psychiatrist or what have you, but I'm the real deal. I could tell you exactly what it does to you and how hard and difficult it is. And so, sometimes people want to hear, reality, not textbook info.
Well, what do you know about the police academy? Do you think they're doing enough? Or do you think they can do better?
I don't know.
Well, perhaps you can volunteer yourself as a consultant to
yes.
them.
Yep.
That's what they need.
So exactly that. I met a lot of people, and that's why my first step is to get into that academy and start with that. But it's true. Nobody knows better than I do. I'm sorry.
Well, you could actually lecture the recruit classes.
That's what I plan.
Mm-hmm.
That's very good.
MaryAnn, have you spoken at any meetings like Holy Name Society meetings, Emerald Society meetings?
Yes.
Yes.
I did Holy Name. I did Anchor Club. I was even on a few podcasts. Keeping It Real with Stephen Michael.
Okay.
Yeah, he's from NYPD also. I did a few podcasts. I spoke a few places. And again, it's only a couple of years that I'm actually finally speaking about it. And when it happened was in 2019, when it was that horrific year and we lost how many guys to that. And I could remember Bobby Ganley.
Sure.
So,
Good man.
Dynamite man. He remembered me because he was the SBA when my husband passed.
Right.
And I had met up with him at a Christmas party, and he goes, "Oh, my God, I know you." And I said, "Oh, I don't remember." And he goes, "MaryAnn, I was at your house for how long?" And when he said his name, I said, "Oh, my God, yes," because, you lose touch. And I remember every police officer that died that year, he and I would text, and he goes, "Bringing it back again." And it hurts. It really... Listen, all I know is I love him, I miss him, When I see him again, the first thing I'm going to do is punch him in the face, and then I'll hug and kiss him.
Right, of course.
If someone is in crisis, either a police officer or a loved one, who should they contact?
Again, I'm just here for my own personal experience. Who should they contact? I guess Papa. There's the 988 number. There's so many different suicide organizations now that they could reach out to. There really is, which is a lot more than when I first came about. But I say it all the time. It shouldn't get you to that point. You have a bad day at work. Come on, get home and talk to somebody. Vent. You got to vent. That's
the problem with police work. I found myself in the same position. When I was a detective, and I had to go to the morgue and identify a 7-year-old girl who died of malnutrition.
Oh, God.
And I was there during the autopsy, and I had a daughter the same age. And I was looking at this little girl, and I'm saying, oh, God, this could have been my daughter.
Yeah.
And when I got home, I was, very emotional. And my wife, wanted to talk about to me, and I didn't even tell her what I experienced. I just kept it to myself because I wanted to protect the family. So that's what cops face. They face these situations, and there's nobody that they can really talk to except fellow cops. I mean, there are people they can talk to, but they don't know who to talk to.
I know. And I could tell you myself, my husband wouldn't have called Papa. He just wouldn't have. I don't think a lot of cops would.
No, most cops
would. Well, maybe
not.
He had something going on that was job-related, and he didn't want to bring it to your attention.
I know that he had broken his hand and while he was at work, and that's why he was out. But can't blame anybody. I won't do that.
Would you want the audience to contact you?
Sure.
Oh, so could you give out your contact information?
Sure. My name is MaryAnn Maginnis, mmaginnis4@gmail. Or you could call me, 917-297-2891, and I would be more than willing to listen, because nobody should feel that way. Nobody ever. Somebody could listen, definitely.
Captain?
Well, I think this was a great interview.
Thank you.
I feel sort of empathetic because I know people, not even sympathetic, empathetic, because I feel I was very close to the situation, dealing with people I worked with who committed suicide. More than, like I said before, quite a few. And it was shocking to me. I always felt, had I known what was going on, maybe I could have helped them.
Yeah. I hope that I can help somebody, one person. I would love to help one person if I could do that much. Nobody should ever experience this as a family. If you're out there thinking of it, think of your family, because what you do to them, I didn't get off my couch, I think, for 2 years. I had a 1-year-old, I couldn't even lift her. I dropped so much weight out of depression, and, you don't want to do that. When your boys are being raised, they didn't have a father to turn to express things to them. I had to. My poor daughter, when they were that small, they didn't know how their dad died, and I didn't know what to say. So we said he died from a car crash. Makes sense, right? So then years had gone by, and the boys were probably like 10 and 12, and the internet was really moving on, and they started asking questions, and Dyker Heights, small neighborhood, people talk. So I said, well, it's time that I had to tell them, and I sat them down and I explained, I have to tell you, Daddy didn't die in a car crash, and unfortunately, when it comes to the brain, you don't see it. It's not like a broken arm or a broken leg. The heart is different, the head is different, and I explained it to them, and we cried, and then we went to his favorite restaurant. But then years later, I had to tell my daughter. And this is the one that just kills me, because when I told her, the girl couldn't stop crying. And she was like 15 years old, and I'm like, honey, it's okay. Why are you so upset? And she said to me, Mommy, I'm crying because all these years I thought Daddy died in a car accident, and I thought it was my fault because I was a baby, and I was crying all night, and I kept him up, and so he fell asleep at the wheel.
Oh, God.
So here I was, where I thought I was protecting them, and I did, the opposite. So, as far as I was trying to protect them from that, so if you're out there thinking of it, think of my daughter, think of Jolie, and, you don't want to do that to anybody. So,
So how old are your children now?
TJ will be 27. No, TJ's going to be 28.
Okay.
Johnny's going to be 27, and Jolie will be 23.
Wow.
Yeah.
God bless them.
Yeah. They're good. They're good kids. They're healthy, happy, but...
Faraday presenta Ojos con Alergia y Picazón contra el jardinero. Y el ganador es Faraday Extra Fuerte. Para aliviar la picazón de los ojos por alergia, actúa más rápido y supera a Claritin y Flonase aún a las 24 horas. Faraday, adelante.
Morning decisions. A creamy mocha frappuccino drink? A sweet vanilla? Maybe a smooth caramel? Or that white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Start your day with bottled Starbucks Frappuccino drinks. Pick up a bottle near you wherever you buy your groceries.
Shopping is hard.
I can never find anything in my size.
I don't even know my size.
I buy my clothes the same place I buy my groceries.
There's a better way. Make it easy with Stitch Fix. Just share your size, style, budget, and done. Your personal stylist sends pieces picked just for you.
That was easy.
Stitch Fix. Online personal styling for everyone. Free shipping and returns. No subscription required. Get started today at stitchfix.com.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, streaming now only on Netflix.
Well, MaryAnn, first of all, very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here, taking time out to be with us.
Yeah.
And, you're sending a great message out there, and I'm sure you'll be able to help many people who,
I hope.
Unfortunately have things going on that we can't see going on in their head. Because you never know. Like you said, you just never know. But thank you. MaryAnn Maginnis, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
If you like what you hear on Cop Talk, please subscribe, and you can follow us on Twitter at Cop Talk WABC. That's at Cop Talk WABC. Until next time, God bless the NYPD, God bless law enforcement throughout the country, and also God bless America. Thank you. Be safe out there.